All right.
She said Juju right down there.
Well,
Oh, it's at the outside.
Okay, good afternoon. Can you guys hear me?
the meeting
Yes,
has
ma'am.
begun.
Okay.
Where are you guys?
Alrighty, so we're going to talk about something that's very important. Unfortunately, in today's society, it's something that has occurred in other facilities and has occurred in other places. So we are implementing an active shooter policy. Okay. So that means somebody comes into the building and brandishes a gun and starts shooting. What do we do? Well, the Department of Homeland Security has developed guidelines for healthcare facilities to follow. They have indicated that it is the same guidelines for all facilities to follow. So these are the guidelines. This is the video, and Montika will be here in a minute. I think she's making copies. Can you check on her? Okay. All right. So watch the video, and then we'll talk about it.
Virginia King, Director of the Marion County Public Health Department. The model policy your healthcare organization will be using and the training video you're about to watch are based on guidelines developed by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. As you will see, we've applied these recommendations for healthcare settings in our community. I encourage you to watch this video, perhaps a few times, and commit the idea of run, hide, fight to memory. I also encourage you to speak to your colleagues, administration, and management about what you learned and what policies and procedures are in place at your facility to help you survive an active shooter incident. This training will force you to imagine the unimaginable, but I hope you will imagine it and think of how you could respond if this happened on your floor, in your clinic, or on your shift. Your life may depend on it. Thank you.
As healthcare professionals, it's hard for us to imagine facing an active shooter taking lives in the very places where we work so hard to save them. Sadly, shootings can happen anywhere, including hospitals and healthcare facilities. While we all hope we will never have to face this kind of deadly situation, it's absolutely critical to understand what to do if an active shooter enters your facility. That is why the Mesh Coalition, representatives from Marion County hospitals, and advisors from law enforcement work together to research and propose a model policy for responding to an active shooter in a healthcare setting. This policy, approved by the boards of directors for both the Mesh Coalition and the Indianapolis Coalition for Patient Safety, serves as a template so that Central Indiana hospitals and healthcare organizations can create their own facility-specific policies for responding to active shooter incidents. An active shooter incident can occur in your facility on any day at any time. Excuse me, where's 214? You have just seconds to react and 3 actions you can take to help make yourself safe. Run, hide, or fight.
The perpetrators are varied. The venues that they select are varied. The victims that they select are varied. Their mindset is to create the most amount of havoc, death, and destruction in the shortest amount of time that they possibly can.
With this type of training, it ensures that all of our hospital and healthcare providers understand how our emergency and first responders will be reacting to these situations. so that we will have similar response, people will have similar training, it will make it much easier, and as a result could potentially save lives.
In law enforcement, the common phrase is you will react as you have trained. So you're going to do something. The question is, are you going to do something that could potentially save your life?
Staff, let's go. Let's go. This way. This way. This way. Hurry, 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 hurry.
If you can evacuate the area, leave immediately. Don't bother to take anything with you. Encourage others to go with you, but if they don't follow, don't wait.
A scale of 1 to 10, and 10 being stay here, stay quiet.
If you're with a patient who cannot escape with you, discontinue care and leave. If you can, secure the patient room upon exiting. Do not stop to help the wounded. Exit the area immediately.
So running preserves your ability to stay alive and preserves your ability to respond to the patients who may need your care after the incident. We may be abandoning that patient for a short time, but if we aren't there to respond to their medical needs after the shooting incident, we're of no help to them. So think of it as conserving your resources.
When exiting, keep your hands raised and visible. If you encounter anyone else, warn them not to go into the area. Avoid pointing, screaming, or yelling while evacuating. If law enforcement is present, follow their orders.
Law enforcement will direct the threat, past casualties, past a lot of victims, be able to end the threat. It makes a lot of sense because more death is going to follow unless that is done as a priority.
Move a safe distance away from the facility. If law enforcement has not arrived, follow your facility's procedures for reporting the incident. This may be to call 911, call facility security, or press a panic button if the area is equipped with one. Make the report even if you think someone else already has. Do not attempt to re-enter the scene until law enforcement has given an all-clear announcement. Depending upon the situation and where you are, your best option may be to hide. The best hiding place is one that is out of the shooter's view, provides protection from gunfire, and doesn't trap you or restrict your movement. Block the door to prevent the shooter from entering, and hide behind large objects like cabinets or desks. Remain silent.
Look for places where you might be able to hide behind locked doors, maybe a medication room, maybe a supply room.
We labeled on our floor the safe places to hide. We've instructed our nurses to barricade the doors, move the beds in front of the door, barricade it, and put the patient, and maybe even yourself with the patient in the bathroom and lock the door, turn off the lights, just try to act like no one's there.
Follow your facility's procedures for reporting the incident, but only if making the call won't give away your position to the shooter. If anyone with you is injured, do what you can to attend to them while remaining hidden. But while you are hiding, you must also think through what you will do if the shooter finds you. Although it should be your last resort, prepare to fight the attacker.
Incapacitating any kind of suspect and stopping him from doing what he had been doing is your goal there.
If your life is in imminent danger, prepare to fight. Your goal is to disrupt or incapacitate the shooter. Even yelling or throwing objects can help by confusing the shooter and making it harder to aim. Act as aggressively as possible. Your commitment to your actions will mean the difference between life and death.
The more you have in numbers, the greater your chances are to be successful in defeating someone that's even armed.
Think of run, hide, fight as more than just what to do when faced with an active shooter. It can be a way of thinking about your surroundings every day. Whether you are always in the same place or you change locations frequently, make it a point to know key features of your environment. Know where the exits are, including stairwells. Know what rooms can be secured and locked. Know how to lock down your area or unit if possible. Pay attention to where phones are. Find out if the facility has panic buttons and where they're located. Know your facility's procedures for reporting an incident so you know who to call and what to say before you ever have to pick up the phone. Be aware of people around you. Keep in mind that an active shooter won't fit any specific profile. He or she may look like any other visitor, patient, or coworker you might encounter on any given day.
We don't want to be too worrisome about it, but we do need to be prepared as a community.
We've been trained on what to do in code situations, so the more that we're trained on this and the more that we practice and have drills, the more hopefully your mind will just go into motion.
Rehearse in your head what you're going to do if this situation were to occur.
Where you can hide, where you can exit, what can you use to fight? Those are not common thoughts, and they need to be. The best weapon you have is knowledge. And something as simple as gearing your mind to run away from the gunshots can save your life. And having the state of mind to take as many people with you when you go saves other lives.
Make run, hide, fight your mindset every day and train yourself to make it your strategy for survival.
All right. So, what did we learn? What do you do first? Run. Run. What do you do second? Hide. And last resort. Very last resort. Okay, so what about calling 911? Do it when it's safe. One other thing you can do here is you can dial 911 from any of the line phones. They have to be lined. Don't do it from your cell phone. But dial 911, leave it open. Leave it on the desk. It'll alert them as to where the problem is. They will send people out here if there's an open line and there's nobody on the other end.
Do you have to dial the 9 to get the 911, or can you go straight to 911?
You do have to dial the 9. So here is 9911. Okay? You do have to dial the 9. So it's 9911 on the line phone. So you need them to know right away. It's a shame we have to do this in this day and age, but it's definitely something that is a reality. So you have our policy that's in your hands. No. Some of you have a policy? No. Oh, some do and some don't. Uh-oh, and I don't have additional policies. Yeah, we can get copies later. We'll get everybody copies later. So it says that our objective is to assist the associates responding to an active shooter event. The policy is in order to preserve life and address the reality of an active shooter. And of course, upon discovery of an active shooter, as soon as possible, when safe, notify law enforcement. If you can, notify if you have a description of the suspect, number, types of weapons, suspect's direction of travel, location and condition of any victims. That would be helpful, but of course, save your life first. We need you back in here later, so save your life first. In terms of patients, if you can evacuate them, if you can take them with them, fine. If you can't, close the door. Close the door and run, okay? So response is evacuate. If there is an accessible escape path, attempt to evacuate the premises. Have an escape route and plan in mind. Evacuate regardless of whether others agree to follow. Do not go back and get your computer and your purse and everything else, okay? Just get out the door. Help others escape if possible. Prevent other individuals from entering the area. So as you're going out, if somebody's coming in, prevent them from coming in. Keep your hands visible. Police are going to be coming in. They don't know who the shooter is. So keep your hands up and visible. Do not attempt to move wounded people. And of course, call 911 when you are safe. If running is not possible, second is hide. Hide out. Direct associates or residents into resident rooms or other adjacent rooms. Close the door. Attempt to barricade the door. Your hiding place, be mindful. It should be out of the active shooter's view. Provide protection if shots are fired in your direction. In other words, in resident bathroom, locking the door, stay as low as possible, remain quiet and still. Avoid areas which do not provide barriers or restrict your options for movement. So lock the door, blockade the door. Silence your cell phone, that's very important. Turn off any source of noise, radios or televisions that tends to irritate shooters. Hide behind large objects, cabinets, desks, what have you, and remain quiet. If evacuation and hiding out are not possible, then you do whatever you can to disrupt the active shooter by acting as aggressively as possible against him or her, throwing items, and improvising weapons, yelling, and committing to your actions. Do not leave your hiding place or come back in the building until an all clear is announced. On recovery, share information with your associates. The health and well-being of our residents is critical. So as soon as possible after law enforcement has come in, they will come in and triage. And it's possibly a mass casualty situation, and we'll go into triage mode, which we have another policy. And then buffer those affected from post-event stresses. We'll bring in psychologists and psychiatrists to help with the situation. I hope I never have to use this policy, to say the least. However, they were just an active shooter in a skilled nursing facility last week. Where? That was in Massachusetts. It was a roommate that came in. His roommate was in the facility for rehab. They came in, and he was a roommate in the community, and he came in and he shot his roommate. We need to be mindful. It could happen any day, any time. Any questions? Has everybody signed that they were here? Okay, it's going around. It's right here. So if there's no further questions, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. And